This is a giant British meat pie. It was beautifully constructed here at Maison François in London, and it cost over $700. Today I'm on a mission to explore London's fascination with meat pies at 3 different places with 3 different price tags. In the pie game, what does it take to be the best? And by the end of this video, you'll see the most expensive, most massive meat pie that money can buy. Is it blasphemous to take something with such humble origins and try to make it so luxurious? No. Why is that okay to do? But first, something much more affordable. Emma?
Hello.
Put her there.
Nice to meet you.
A dish known as pie and mash, served with a bizarre British bite known as eel jelly. I have so many questions. First of all, how do those go together? Why do those go together?
It was cheap. They used to catch the eels from the Thames, and that is how it became a meal, because it was cheap.
Emma Harrington is the director of Manze, the most iconic and perhaps oldest pie and mash shop in all of London. A shop that's been serving loyal patrons since 1902.
We used to have sawdust on the floor throughout the whole of the shop. So when people were eating the eels, they would spit the bones out.
Oh my God.
The sawdust would be swept up at the end of the day.
What a different era.
I know.
Some essential elements accompany the pie in this traditional dish, including a parsley sauce known as liquor. Next, mashed potatoes, or mash for short. Made by boiling the potatoes for hours, then mashing them through a food processor. Is there any meal in London where mash wouldn't fit?
No. You can have mash with everything, can't you?
And of course, no British culinary experience would be complete without the quintessential pie, a staple of British cuisine. After the dough is prepared and molded into a tray, it's portioned out using a specialized cutting machine. Folks here seem to love pies. When did pies become very popular in London or in Britain? Do you know? The dough portions are pressed into thin sheets using a dough sheeter.
It's just a warm, hearty, filling, comfort, cheap meal that people loved 120 years ago and still do today.
These thin sheets are carefully placed into personal pie molds, ready to receive some fillings. The exact recipe of the pie filling here is a guarded secret, but traditionally, meat pies like these would be filled with minced beef and suet, flavored with salt, pepper, onions, parsley, thyme, bay leaves, and nutmeg. My understanding is that you just have the one type of pie filling, is that correct?
That's it. Well, we do have 2. We have a vegan pie.
To seal the deal, a delicate sheet of pastry is draped over the top. Trim away the excess dough with precision, then it's ready for its final act in the oven. Is this recipe over 100 years old? Has it changed?
It's not changed.
It's very cool to think what I'm going to be trying in a moment is the same bite somebody would have had over 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
Here, a typical order of pie and mash comes with 2 savory beef pastries, a generous smear of creamy mashed potatoes, and a splash of liquor in the middle. On the side, you'll find the classic jellied eels. Gentlemen, nothing like starting the day with 1,000 calories of carbs. Before we get into the food, I want to back up and talk about you guys. Jamie, Ben, you have a YouTube channel mainly focused on food, right?
Food's the conversation, but it's more of a friendship.
We want to help people become awesome home cooks, so learning as much as we can about the world of food around us.
I don't even know yet how to categorize British food, but I look at this and I go, yeah, that's British.
I feel like that's a stereotype.
And yet here we are.
That is not untrue necessarily, but this is a slice of British that hasn't evolved in over 100 years, whereas like a lot of British food has moved on.
You don't need to evolve if you're already perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my wife about myself all the time. You give the pie a flip, create a slit down the center, ripping open that soft underbelly of the pie, exposing the beef inside, and giving it a splash of vinegar. From here, getting a piece of pie and some of that liquor. Is that pronounced the same as Jack Daniel's liquor?
Yeah, and I think it's supposed to do a similar job, warm you up from the inside.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
What are we thinking?
I enjoy that a lot. The crust of the pie, there's some bits that are crispy and some that are still basically doughy. And I like that kind of a texture. Then you've got the meat, which is heavy, a bit savory, but to cut the heaviness, you've got the vinegar.
Just down the road, less than a mile, is Vinegar Yard. It's where malt vinegar used to be produced for the entire country, pretty much. So, a lot of history.
I want to try this parsley sauce alone. I can't figure out what that tastes like. There's so many elements in here at one time. Very gentle flavor. It's a bit earthy. It's almost like people maybe like the comfort more of like it has a gravy mouthfeel.
The lubrication.
Yes. But then we have this right here on the side. The most horrifying type of jello I've ever seen in my life. I mean, how do you come at this?
You can scoop it in and pick around like an olive stone in your mouth, or you can pick around on the plate. Entirely up to
Do
you.
you use your fingies or not?
Depends on whether you want to smell like eel for the rest of the day.
I think I might already smell like eel. But before we try that jelly eel, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Rocket Money.
Everything these days requires a subscription, and if you're a human and not some super organized robot, well then you've probably forgotten to cancel a few free subscriptions until it was too late. I know I have. I recently found out I was being charged monthly for a subscription I forgot about. Annoying, right? But don't worry, there's a lifesaver for situations just like this. Introducing Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you manage your subscriptions, lower bills, and organize your finances. It's all in one, and it's pretty amazing. Using Rocket Money is ridiculously easy. I love how it simplifies the process of ditching unwanted subscriptions. It's not a messy breakup, just a couple of taps and you're done. No more awkward customer service calls or long termination forms. Also, the Smart Savings feature is a game changer. You can set the amount and frequency, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Plus, check this out. You can see all your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you don't need. And here's how to lower your bills. Just upload a photo, tap a few buttons, and Rocket Money negotiates for you. Are you ready to start taking control of your finances? Well, start using Rocket Money today. Visit rocketmoney.com/BEFRS to get started for free. Join the 5 million members who are saving more and spending less with Rocket Money. Click the link in the description to start your financial journey for free. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check them out at rocketmoney.com/BEFRS. Now, back to the show. Cold.
Fish cold.
There's some fatty sections, or probably that's the skin of it, gelatinous. Then the jello.
Fishy jello.
Is just fishy. And what's crazy is we love that in like a tonkotsu broth from pork bones or like chicken broth out of eel. We struggle with it a bit more, but look around. It's a classic. People love it.
Okay, here's what I can say I do like about this is you cannot say that British folks are not adventurous.
I think it's a generational thing as well.
It's briny. It tastes like someone took ocean water, boiled it, mixed it with gelatin powder. I respect it because it exists.
Yeah.
And so they're sticking to the tradition and they're saying, no, F things like modern culinary technique, seasoning, good taste. I'm gonna eat this, and I don't give a shit. So listen, this is our most affordable pie, and by the end of today, we're gonna be trying a pie that costs over 700 pounds. Yes.
Okay, wow.
But next we're heading to our mid location, where we're gonna have a crustless pie.
Is that still a pie?
The earliest reference to pies dates back to the Middle Ages, with the first recorded recipe for an apple pie appearing in 1381. These days, people eat the pastry case because it's delicious. But back then, the pastry case was not eaten. Rather, it was only used as a container for cooking.
For you, personally, how would you define a pie? Do you need a pastry for it to be a pie?
Yeah, of course. People tend to use a short crust pastry or a puff pastry. We at the Windmill here, we like to use suet pastry.
So then what about the shepherd's pie?
No. Shepherd's pie, now that's a good one.
But it doesn't have a pastry on it.
It doesn't have a pastry.
So then where are we now? Now I'm lost again and I don't know what a pie
Shepherd's
is.
pie is what you would call a top pie. Okay, so basically a normal pie would be surrounded, encased in pastry. Top pies would only have the same pie filling and then topped with either pastry or mashed potatoes.
It's a different subcategory of pie.
Yeah, true.
Clear.
But a pie nonetheless.
Steve is the head chef at Windmill, a unique pie house and pub located in the vibrant heart of London.
I personally have been a head chef here for only 7 weeks.
Yeah, you go way back. What are you hoping to establish here?
Right now, I want to make this the best pie house in London, you know, and I think we're on a route to being there, to be honest.
Here they offer a variety of pies, with 2 dedicated pie rooms and a pub. But I'm here for the one and only shepherd's pie. To prepare this dish, start by frying minced lamb shoulder on a flat-top grill with some oil. Season with salt and pepper and cook until the meat is evenly browned.
It's probably one of the oldest pies. It goes back all the way from late 18th century, early 19th century. It was used primarily from mothers and wives who had to go all these old cuts. They had nothing to do with them. It was too tough to eat.
Next, add a hearty amount of diced shallots, carrots, and celery, followed by an entire bottle of red wine.
The good cuts, what would they have been using those for?
You're going to use for my pastry pies.
So the good pie,
Is
is it a better pie?
It's. I don't think so. I think this is a.
No, I'm not letting you. I'm not letting you. Listen,
All right, mate. Good?
I nearly got run over.
Yeah.
Do you know why I nearly got run over?
Because you weren't looking where you were going.
No, because it's an electric car. Electric cars have no noise. Pies are the best thing in the world. It's a British, quintessentially fantastic thing to do.
Thank you. That's a very nice of you. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Just interrupting because I got run over, but apart from that, love you all.
What just happened?
London for you. That's what's happened.
That, my friend, is the power of pies.
Okay.
Or maybe beer.
Both.
For even more flavor, incorporate a mix of thyme and rosemary, a few bay leaves, and lamb stock. Then allow the ingredients to simmer together for up to 3 hours. For assembly, instead of a traditional pie crust, this shepherd's pie is arranged in a ceramic bowl topped with mashed potatoes, then baked in the oven for 25 minutes. To finish it off, a sprinkle of spring onions on top.
Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
What I notice here is outside the pub, there's a bunch of people standing around drinking beers with glasses made out of glass. It's amazing. In the USA, I think you would have to be corralled within a fence or a structure to keep you inside.
There's a wonderful after-work culture in the UK where often the pubs aren't big enough to hold enough people, so it spills out onto the street and then onto the road.
Yeah, we don't really do that. One big problem is you can't really go outside or off the property with a drink. I swear, if you just drink a beer on a random sidewalk in the USA, you will get tackled by a police officer. This is the shepherd's pie. I talked to the chef and now I understand that anything can be a pie.
Pretty much.
That's my understanding. Now, this was unexpected. On the side here, we have
Creamed spinach.
Classic.
It's so rich and creamy, and there's just a hint of spinach flavor in there, so you know you're getting some vitamins.
I mean, this is a step up from the liquor that we had earlier. Green and kind of saucy.
At last, we have our shepherd's pie. Oh, that's nice. You want to get some of all the layers, though, right?
Yeah.
Cheers. Oh, wow. It's very lamby, but not too strong, not too bold or gamey, anything like that. And then the potato, the carbs, it's just a perfect pairing. It's very comforting.
That tastes like my childhood.
Yeah.
Were you going out to have it, or did you have a parent making it?
This is a big family style, like one of those things you might cook midweek, or perhaps at the weekend, everyone gathers around a big pie.
Do you know what the American white trash equivalent of this is? Tater tot hot dish.
I was gonna say like a corned beef hash kind of thing, but yeah.
This is giving me some of those same feelings, and then I'm like, wait a second, I'm not British. I'm not from here. But my mom would make something like tater tot hot dish. So minced beef and then roasted tater tots on top, kind of like this. You know what? That wasn't hot dish. That was tater tot pie.
That's what it is.
It was a top pie. I've been eating pie this whole time.
After trying 2 of London's most affordable working man's pies, we're moving to a location with a pie so expensive and so rare that fewer than 100 people have ever tried it.
Have you actually tried this for yourself? Because this is an expensive recipe to test out.
We actually entered it into a pie competition.
This expensive one that we're talking about.
The exact same pie. About 2 months ago, 20 entries, and it was the winning pie, so
That's wild.
you're gonna love it.
Oh, okay, this is gonna be amazing.
Meet Matthew, a master chef, the Professionals finalist from 2018. He now hosts his own YouTube channel while working as the executive chef at Maison, François.
We're actually a French brasserie.
Can you tell me a little bit about the menu, the type of food you're serving here?
So we're French food.
The very pricey pie we're trying today isn't just an award-winning creation. It's an elevated take on their already renowned French pork pie.
If somebody were to purchase your humble pie, but the whole thing, how much would that cost?
Like 360.
Pounds.
Yeah.
That's already pretty expensive, actually.
One of these giant pies will get you about 20 slices, and each slice of this pie from their regular menu costs about $23.
Today's pie would be about £600.
I don't think I'll ever spend that much on a pie again in my life.
Let me show you what I've got today. One of our expensive ingredients, foie gras. This is a fatty liver from a duck. Next, some nice duck breasts. Some dried Kimmy figs, a really special fir alcohol from a Christmas tree, essentially. They're making an alcohol with it. This is one of our meat consommes. Take the shins from a cow, pig's trotters, boiling chickens. We cook that down for 8 hours. Now we have all our ingredients. Let's get started.
First, the foie gras is gently slit, creating small pockets to allow their spice mix to marinate, along with brandy and bouillon de sapin, an aromatic, subtly sweet liquor from Spain. Next, various cuts of pork, including pork shoulder, smoked pork belly, and unsmoked pork belly, are diced then minced into a blended pork paste. Adding additional meat elements, Matt incorporates duck breast, sliced for even cooking, then pork loin, diced for texture. These meats are marinated with brandy, his own spice mix, and some dried figs, allowing the flavors to melt together for over 6 hours. Now for the easiest part of this dish. Finely chopped fried chicken skin, the minced pork mixture, loads of that marinated duck breast, pork loin, and figs, along with the marinated foie gras are all combined. This insanely rich and flavorful mixture will serve as the filling for our luxurious 600-pound pie.
So we've got our filling for the pate. We're going to start building the pie now. This is a water crust dough, so plain flour, pork fat, add a couple of eggs, and then that's it. We roll it out to about 1/2 centimetre thickness into our pie molds. Once these sides are in, we can start putting in the pie meat.
The pie you're serving here, is it British? Does it have a French influence?
I think basically what happened is that cuisines around the world stole the ideas from the French and kind of adapted themselves.
You almost sound French right now. Yeah. Are you sure you're not French?
I'm fully English.
Okay,
yeah.
But you're saying everything starts in France and then people borrow from them.
Yeah. And right now we're just putting the top of the pie, making sure it's evenly spread over the top, and then we're just going to close the pie. There's a little bit too much dough here, so just trim. So there's about 1 centimetre left, and then we're just going to crimp the edges. Basically just pinch, and then we're folding it back on itself to make sure it's nicely sealed. The secret to a good meat pie is lots of seasoning, so heavy on salt and spices and high fat content. That's why pork's such a great meat for it. We're going to add a few little holes so it doesn't explode when we bake it.
Using pastry and tin foil, Matt meticulously creates air vents. These will come in handy soon. Then he applies an egg wash to the entire pie before finishing with some decorative touches.
I feel like pies in the UK, their history is of humble means. It was a way to wrap and protect the meat. It's also a hearty food. It gave people a big calorie bomb at the beginning of the day if they had to go work. Is it blasphemous to take something with such humble origins and try to make it so luxurious?
No.
Why is that okay to do?
Taking something simple as a pie and trying to elevate it to something breathtaking is actually way more impressive than taking something that is already an incredible ingredient like a beef fillet or whatever. And not like it's a pie, but I guarantee you ask 100 people in the street, not one of them could build that pie.
Good flex at the end.
Yeah.
The pie is then placed in the oven for an hour, allowing some time for the meat inside to cook down. But that's a problem, because now there's space between the meat and the top of the pastry that must be filled. For Matt, it's no matter. This space has become new real estate that allows him to introduce a meat consommé through the chimneys, adding a jelly texture to this already intricate dish. Once the pie is finished baking in the oven, it's cooled down and finally served cold.
I always think of a pie as a very humble thing. This is at the other end of that scale.
Mm-hmm. We're in Mayfair. This is not where I would usually frequent because I can't afford to.
Guys,
they've given you a weapon.
I cannot wait to see what this looks like.
We haven't seen what's inside, so we are very excited.
You guys are gonna see it first. Here we go. Here comes the reveal.
Oh, wow.
Layers. Speckled with foie gras. Is that fruit in there as well?
Yes.
Some figs at the top?
Oh my Lord. It's insane.
I mean, that looks like a loaf of bread.
Right. That's a good point. Imagine making a grilled cheese with one of these as the bread.
Now you've got his attention.
Yes. So yes, you can see all the speckled bits, parts of fig, foie gras, all the different meat he put in there, and then just this thin layer that's gelatinized around the edges. I think we go like a thick Texas toast.
We call that a doorstep.
There you go.
Beautiful. So weighty.
I'm gonna go for the bottom corner.
That's what I'm looking for, a corner that has a little bit of fruit, a little bit of foie gras, a little bit of pork.
Cheers. Mm-hmm. Wow. Cold, meaty, rich, and heavy.
And beautifully seasoned throughout, but the layering, the processing, it's culinary expertise in something I would associate normally as a very humble dish.
Right,
That is definitely the top end of any pie I've ever had.
I do think it tastes excellent. Considering this is such a heavy food, it's generally eaten with, I'm told, pickle.
A little cornichon and some Dijon mustard, so sort of French mustard. And we've got Petit Verdot, so a French Bordeaux, which is also a high acid wine.
Better.
That makes it really sing.
Mm-hmm. It's really delicious. I'm actually kind of blown away. Guys, I know you being British, you won't understand this, but I love to be cynical. I want to hate things.
We always sit on the fence on everything.
There's nothing more fun to hate than something expensive and that's completely unnecessary. This doesn't need to exist.
And yet I'm so happy it does.
Yes, I love the flavor. So let me go for this. I got some fig with some of the gelatin. Amazing. The gelatin, it has a similar texture to what we had this morning, but the flavor couldn't be any more different.
What I find fascinating is you've got so many different cuts of pork, you've got the chicken skin, the foie gras, that all should theoretically cook at different times, and yet inside of here they're all doing exactly the same thing, and it's not dry, it's still super succulent and moist, the fruit helps, the jelly helps, the wine definitely helps.
I honestly think the hardest bit is getting the pastry spot on, because you don't want all of the juices to come out and give you a soggy bottom is the thing that everyone talks about when it comes to bad pie.
Yep.
Soggy bottom sounds like a British sitcom character. I didn't expect it to be delicious. I thought it would be like something fun to try.
Sure.
And you never think of it again. But this pie, this is burned into my mind.
It's gonna live up here.
There's only one thing to do from here. We're gonna go outside and we're gonna decide which pie today gave us the most bang for our buck.
And then we go to the pub, right?
And then we go to the pub. Right now we're at Maison François.
Maison.
Oh, I was so close. I took German instead of French in high school. Oh, so you guys are so good. You know to wait for the bite together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And basically how they make it, they force feed ducks in a dark room on the last week of their life. You're left with this really fatty, delicious liver which just melts away into the pork meat.
You made the tragedy sound so delicious. They stuff them in a dark room and it tastes fantastic.
Actually, what we're doing is already vegan without any adaptation. So we can have vegan pie, mash and eel. Sorry, not eels.
Vegan
Cut
eels?
that bit.
In the US, we got something called a Snickers pie. Have you heard of that?
No.
It tastes like Snickers.
Okay.
That's about all there is to it. It's very delicious. Guys, today we tried 3 different pies at 3 different price amounts of money. A very affordable pie that costs this much, a very middle price pie that costs this much, and a very expensive pie that costs this much. So I need to know from you guys, individually, which one gave you the most bang for your buck?
For me, Manze's was community and history, but best bang for your buck was the Windmill shepherd's pie, because whilst the final pie will live up here a lot longer as an experience, actual meal for parted with, it was a shepherd's pie.
I think the best bang for your buck with a pie was the middle one.
For me, was location 1. There was just something about the opportunity to eat multiple pies. The fact that when you flip the pie over, it has a soft underbelly. It was satisfying, and hey, on the side, you could even eat some eel.
If you like.
And tell your friends about it, at least.
It's not just about the pie, it's about the location, it's about the history, and it's about the people, not just behind the counter, but all of the other customers as well that have been going there for decades. I think you're onto a winner.
Thanks. Boom, that is the end of the video. I want to say a huge thank you to Matthew Ryle for cooking up that super expensive pie for us. You can follow him on his YouTube channel where he's cooking classic French food and so much more. Also, I gotta say a huge thank you to these 2 guys right here, Jamie and Ben from Sorted. Go find them on YouTube. They have podcasts, they have food, they have adventures. It's content that's gonna blow your mind. It's so well put together. Please go subscribe and take a look.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
This has been an incredible day. If I could eat pies every day like that, I'd be a very happy man.
I am a happy man. So that is it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.
Please.
Nice, nailed it. Let's go.
To another pub?